Hello and welcome back to Walk the Cinema podcast. Today we are continuing our Oscar coverage with Avatar: The Way of Water.
Yeah, we watched this after a major acclaim from people in our lives that aren't really movie people.
Yeah, a lot of people said we were going to cry multiple times throughout this movie. But before we get into that, I just want to say that the title of this movie is very not intuitive. I feel like, because I feel like naturally we're supposed to say the way of the water,
or just way of the water.
Yeah, way of the water.
But
so
I don't know. It is weird because I felt like it would be the way of the water, but that's too many does.
Yeah, but you could just say, I think it would flow more if it was way of the water. Of the water.
I think so too, but I guess they picked it. It doesn't really matter. People are always going to remember it as Avatar 2.
Yeah.
Which it's what it is. It's a sequel. It starts as a sequel that assumes you know everything about the world already.
Yeah, because we did not watch the first one in preparation for this.
No, it's been years.
Yeah.
Because I don't like it. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I agree. I really didn't like the first one. I mean, that's not entirely true, where I did watch the first one in theaters in 2009 in the IMAX theaters, so like the best possible viewing point that I could get. Like the screen was slightly curved, so it was even more of like a cinematic experience. You felt like you were in the world. And I saw it with my dad, so sometimes some movies are just, like, more nostalgic, but I liked it then, or at least, kind of was on the hype with it then. But then as I got, older, I was pretty young in 2009. As I got older, the story just really didn't resonate with me.
I watched it also, like, 2009 or 2010, whenever the Blu-ray came out. I didn't buy it, but one of my friends bought it, and I got it. And I watched it, and it was, like, fine. I didn't remember anything from it, which is kind of the joke behind it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people said there's no cultural impact, and there's no memes about it, whatever.
Even though it was, like, one of the highest grossing
It's
movies.
the highest grossing movie, and it's kind of, like, whatever, forgettable.
Yeah.
I think the problem with it translates into this one as well, which I think it is a spectacle, and it is kind of fun in theaters, right? I wasn't hating my life.
Yeah.
But that's all it is, because there's just so many set pieces that are meant to be watched in 3D and they're meant to be watched in IMAX. And that's just not going to last long once the movie's on Disney Plus, right? Because a lot of people are going to watch it on Disney Plus because a lot of people don't go to theaters anymore. And once they do watch it on Disney Plus, it's not going to be the same. And it's already going to be aged, or it's already going to be less impactful.
But I will say that even sans that, like, a lot of people, like we said at the beginning, a lot of people in our lives really enjoyed this movie.
That's true, yeah.
And people that, like, aren't really emotionally involved in movies got emotionally involved with this one. And I do think that this has a lot more heart than the first one in terms of, like, storytelling and stakes. Because, like, this one really is all about family, you know?
Yeah.
All I could think of was,
Vin Diesel
and his family.
Mean, the driving force of the movie is these guys' kids keep getting kidnapped.
Yeah.
So it is about family, because he has to save his kids a bunch of times, and they have to save each other, and whatever. They set up a bunch of storylines that collide.
Yeah.
With the monkey kid, Spider.
Yeah. Which I've seen a lot of hate for Spider online, which I really don't get, because I, like, thought it was whatever. Like, I didn't hate the character.
I don't know.
It was a little weird.
Little Tarzan boy.
Yeah, but
I think he makes me... He gives me a harder time getting into the movie in the beginning, because he's human, and everyone else looks like a cartoon.
Right.
Like, it looks like an animated movie for a while. Until my eyes adjusted to it, I was like, this is an animated movie.
Yeah.
Especially the animals, like the flying stuff. I don't know their names. I'm not really into lore or anything.
Yeah.
But the animals didn't look great to me. And it could have been because there's literally a real human right there. Or it could also be because they're not that great.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably more you see the human in comparison to the creatures of Pandora. But I guess like one of the things that people didn't really like about the Spider characters, I think it is kind of a cop out. Like he's a cop out character, where it's like we need to give the villain some type of emotional connection that makes him,
and a reason for the villain to survive at the end, so we can make another one.
Yeah, makes him human or like relatable in some way.
Right.
So
it does work in that sense, though.
Yeah. But there's a lot of things in this movie that do feel like a cop out. And a lot of things in this movie that make me feel like a little bit uncomfortable in terms of like, why would you choose to do this? So like, for example, I think it's a cop out that like the villains of this movie are the villains of the first movie.
Right.
Where I know at the end of the first movie, they do allude to the fact that the humans are going to come back, and like when they do, they'll be ready kind of type thing. So, I mean, that's fine and all, but I feel like we're just kind of rehashing the first movie, and I think that happens a lot in these types of like, we're going to wait a long time to create new movies. It happened with Star Wars, where I feel like Force Awakens is just A New Hope all over again, you know, just with different characters. And I think that this kind of suffers the same thing, but I think that I might be alone in this, at least.
No, I understand. And I think that there could be a buffer movie in between the humans coming back, where you have Avatar 2 and they do something different. And then in the third one, we go back to, oh, the humans are back finally.
Yeah.
And we understand that other things happen in the meantime.
Yeah.
Which they do show, right? They show the kids growing and whatever, but like, it doesn't mean much.
Yeah, it doesn't mean much. And so I think like the humans come back really quickly from the start of the movie and to the point where they come back, and then we do a time jump of a year later when, you know, they're kind of establishing their base.
It's hard for me to say this movie did anything quickly because it's 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it necessarily felt super long. Right. Again, I didn't have a bad time in theaters. I think I would have a bad time in my living room. And I definitely don't want to watch this again. But I think as a one-time experience in theaters, it's all right. It's kind of fun. Kind of not great. I kind of laughed at moments I shouldn't. And I felt bad because I was like, oh, there's people enjoying it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the ending is very slow.
The ending is slow, but I feel like it feels like a long movie, but it doesn't feel 3.5 hours long. Like it is pretty snappy, and to a point where I think some points are a little bit too snappy, and then other points it's like you could have cut this down.
And when I say slow at the end, it's like it's a whole action sequence, but it feels like it had so many chances to end, and they keep like,
oh, the daughters are kidnapped again.
Yeah, the daughters are kidnapped again. Oh, now we're gonna drown. Oh, now Spider's saving his dad, and it's like, goddamn, like pick one ending. Don't do them all at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's kind of one of those things where obviously this movie felt like it wasn't its own thing. Like it felt like a sequel movie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of like maybe like a Dune, where it's like you're only watching half a movie, where you're kind of watching only half or part of a story. So maybe it'll be better with its subsequent sequels.
I doubt it.
But I kind of doubt it. Yeah.
I think this is going to be the best Avatar movie until they do like Avatar 7 or something where they like refigure it. I think he had enough time to make it better than the first one. I do think it's better than the first one.
Yeah, 100%.
Even though the first one has the thing going for it that it's brand new.
Yeah.
The technology, the looks, it's brand new, and it did feel brand new at the time. But now it kind of does it, so they don't have that going for it anymore.
So they had to focus more on the story.
Yeah, the story's better. I think the characters are really annoying.
Some are. I think the thing is, the characters weren't as annoying for me, and I think that's because I grew up with siblings, so I kind of get the dynamic, you know.
But it's not even the dynamic; they're just annoying. But I don't like the accent stuff that they do with the I feel like it comes off as really weird.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to point out, that the accent stuff makes me feel weird, because it's like they're the only ones that have accents. Why?
Yeah, it's weird.
And then the other thing that I didn't like was the casting choice to make Sigourney Weaver play Kira, who is a 14-year-old child. And so like her voice sounded very mature, and some of the things that I've seen about this movie make me very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and
people online go a little too far.
Yeah, and I think people online think that they are safe when they say gross things about a 14-year-old character, that they feel safe because Sigourney Weaver is a grown woman, you know?
I think they would do it anyways, to be honest. But...
Fair, but, like, it's still weird. It's weird to me. And then, like, I know they're going to address it, because why wouldn't they address it? But, like, Grace's avatar getting pregnant...
Suspicious.
Randomly,
yeah.
I assume it's going to be something like a Virgin Mary type thing, allegory.
Yeah, and Kiri is the next one to save the Na'vis.
I feel like it's going to be something like that, but it's still, like, I didn't really like that choice,
right.
you know? And I love Sigourney Weaver as much as the next person, but she could have, like, just kept her original character and not also played the 14-year-old version of herself.
I did like some other choices, though. I did like the configuration of the water village a lot more than the forest. I think it looks really cool.
Agreed.
I don't think it's particularly great. And the underwater scenes, we didn't watch it in 3D, but the slow underwater scenes with the music, they feel like they're meant for 3D. They feel like they slowed the movie down to a halt, because they want to show you the spectacle of what they can do with the underwater graphics. And
and I think...
It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what James Cameron does, though, right? He makes spectacular movies. Like, they are spectacles you gotta watch in theaters, but it just doesn't translate into, like, a storytelling
or like
film.
Or like a great movie of all time, you know? Like, I don't know. With this... It did kind of feel like this is what every 10-year-old girl feels like when she goes to the beach for the first time. You know, where it's like, I am the water.
Yeah. It's kind of a mermaid movie if you think about it.
It kind of is. And there are certain things about this movie where I'm just like, I don't know. It seems like the stakes are too high and then not high enough at other points, where it's like, are we just going to ignore the fact that other teenage boy almost let another teenage boy die?
Which led to, like, a Finding Nemo scene.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah, I liked... those were my favorite parts, were the ones with the spirit whales. Mm-hmm. Those were my favorite scenes.
Yeah, the spirit... They have a name, whatever.
I don't know. Tatuum or something.
I don't know the name. Those whales getting killed by the evil men, that was the only part that I got sad. Like, the kid dying at the end, like, it didn't really touch me. Because I didn't like the kid too much in particular, but the whales, they couldn't defend themselves. They couldn't fight back. That was part of their nature. Mm-hmm. So that made me really sad.
Yeah. That part made me sad, and the kid dying made me sad, and the ending made me sad. The ending is what almost got me. My sister one of my sisters told me that she cried multiple times throughout the film.
Right.
And, you know, for a while I was like, I do not understand how she cried. But, you know, there are some scenes where I'm like, yeah, I get it. Mm-hmm. And I do think that they are genuinely sad scenes, you know?
They're meant to be sad. I think they're a little too manipulative in that sense.
That's what I was trying to figure out as I was watching. It's like, is this manipulative, or have they earned this?
Like, was I sad because the whales were being killed? Definitely. But, like, they knew that people were going to be sad, and they did it for that purpose.
Yeah. And especially, like, once you see or you understand, like, how they interact with the Na'vi, the water Na'vi, where they're soul bonded and they can communicate with the clicking and then, like, the sign language type stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's like they get to share their lives with
they
each
have
other.
Like human emotions when they talk to the Na'vis, or like whatever, sentient emotions.
Yeah.
And it's sad, and they set it up to be as sad as possible.
Yeah.
Because they kill them right after, like, the bonding stuff.
Yeah.
Where we find out that they wait for kids, and they know all the families, not only from the other whales, but from the Na'vis.
Yeah. And that the only reason that they're being killed in the first place is for, like, a very minuscule part of them.
Right. Yeah, it felt like everything was being just put together to make you as sad as possible. And I don't love that. it is manipulative, but it did work. I can't say it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's kind of like, did they earn it? Maybe. I do think that it does a good job at developing characters, but like they spend a lot of time on the kid characters, or the children of the world, of the universe. But then I think that also kind of pushes our old characters that we've, seen from the first movie to the wayside a little bit.
But it's not like the characters are good. Jake Sully is very bland, and the Joey Saldana character,
Zoe, yeah.
She's annoying. Like, I get it that she's, like, still untrustworthy of humans, but she's a little too aggressive at all times for me.
Well,
she's not likable. I don't see anything likable about her. She's always aggressive.
Well, I think that at least at the end, I kind of liked the feminine rage that she exhibited. Like, once she
right, but you can't just
her son.
But those emotions are just, she's a mother, and that's why she has these emotions, and that's fair enough. But those emotions don't explain why she hasn't grown in any way since the first movie for her hatred towards every single human, even though she married one.
Yeah, she married one, and her children are very close.
Yeah. She doesn't even like Spider from the beginning, and then like threatens to kill him at the end, and it's like no evolution for her. I think it's not a character movie. It doesn't really make good characters. I don't think there's a singular character that's honestly good. They all have like a lot of flaws and just
but I think that they're at least, they did a good job at setting up these characters for subsequent movies while also jamming a lot of plot, I guess.
We're analyzing this as an individual movie, and that's how everyone should, to be honest. You can build a universe, but you still gotta make individual movies.
Yeah, I suppose.
And this is not great as a movie. It is great as a spectacle. I think the action scene where it's like the start of the big battle, where the whale's helping them, and the whale gets like the guy's arm off as retribution, and there's like them jumping over and throwing the spears. That's really cool. It is really cool and really entertaining.
Yeah. And some other things about it that I think the movie does a good job, because I don't want this to only be negative. There are some good aspects about it. Like you said, it is a spectacle, and I think that they at least do a good job at world building, and I think they took a lot of consideration into the design of the different types of Na'vi. So like the water Na'vi have a thicker tail and thicker arms to help them swim better.
Right. I like that part, but then I don't like that they have like the tribal tattoos all over. I think that like the Samoan tribal tattoos or the Hawaiian tattoos all over their skins, which they're not tattoos, they're just part of their skin. But like, God, we get that they're the water people. I feel like that was too connected to the human world, where they kind of made the water peoples the Samoans of the Na'vi world.
I guess. I don't know. I don't take that as a criticism. And like I said, we're trying to keep this part positive.
Okay, positive. I watched it all. I never wanted to turn it off. I can't pretend this is the worst thing ever.
No. It's not
even
the worst.
As a movie, I can say it's bad, personally.
Right.
As a spectacle, we watched it on Bargain Tuesday. It was worth the $6. Mm-hmm. It was fine. I liked it more than I thought I would. I liked it more than the first one.
Yeah.
And it's not my least favorite nominee this year.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
So that's surprising.
You'll have to wait to figure out which one is.
Yeah,
we'll let you know.
You gotta listen to all the episodes.
But yeah, I do think that the world building is good. I think that the dynamics between siblings is pretty good. There are some frustrating parts where it's like the middle son or the second son is so frustrating, but it's kind of like that is a trope that I think is utilized a lot in these types of movies, so it makes sense. But other than that, like, there's not a ton to say that I loved about this. I did, like you said, we enjoyed it. At least we enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, one time viewing in theaters, totally. Watching it on my own on Disney Plus, I don't know what would possess me to click that over hundreds of other movies I have in my watch list.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just not something that would pop up. And to be fair, if this didn't get nominated, we wouldn't have watched it.
Yes. And I tried to not, because I definitely was on the same boat that some people were, where it's been like over a decade since the first one came out.
And it's not like the first one made any impact on movie making or anything.
And it just feels like, why are we throwing money at this kind of mediocre spectacle?
We're throwing an insane amount of money. This is the most expensive movie to make of all time.
Yeah.
Does it look it? I don't even think so. I think the CGI is good, but not great. I think there's a lot of aspects that don't look real to me. The backgrounds do. Like, the whole world looks real, but sometimes the animals really don't.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. A very expensive movie. Definitely not worth it, but it made its money back, and it's going to get sequels. And people that like it, great for them. People that like action movies, like, there's the crowds that they're not really into movies, but there's a big blockbuster in theaters and they go watch it on date night or with their friends, whatever. And they forget about it, right? It's not something that is important to them, but they do go watch it. And that's why they make this type of movie. Because they know people will go watch it.
Yeah, and it's not the worst thing ever. It's tolerable.
And for those type of blockbuster movies, I'm okay with this one, right?
Yeah.
But we get to the nominations that this guy got 4.
Mm-hmm.
Should he have gotten Best Picture? Of course not. I think most people agree on that. I don't even think this has a big fan base. With, like, real... Like,
I don't know. I think that a lot of people really liked this movie. I think there was a big fan base.
I don't know. I don't think online, where people go to create memes and they go to create, like, art and fan fiction, I don't think there's a huge fan base for that.
That's true. If you're looking at it in fan fiction, like, standards, I don't think there's
even
a lot.
though there's some men online that do talk about the Avatar
it's creepy and I
bodies,
don't like it.
and it's a little weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Best Picture, no. Achievement in Production Design,
sure.
Yeah. Sure. Again, the world was great.
Yeah.
Which connects to the achievement in visual effects.
Yeah,
obviously. And I think it should win.
It probably will win.
It's not the favorite, like, technically. But this is a little look into our prediction episode. I'm going to predict that this is going to win it too.
Yeah, probably.
And then it got Best Sound. Sound was fine. I didn't notice anything bad about it.
No, and
there was also too much going on for me to notice anything great.
Yeah, but I feel like everything was clear. I think in a lot of action movies, sometimes the dialogue gets a little lost, and I don't think I was ever confused what people were saying
they
or
mixed,
conveying.
or they joined the sound mixing and the sound design into one award. If we're gonna talk sound mixing for an action movie, this is really good because, like, explosions, bangs, whatever, never got you out of it. And sometimes they have to, right? Because you need an explosion to be louder than a person talking to show that it's a big explosion.
Yeah, to give you a frame of reference.
Right, but this did it fine. Yeah, the sound was fine. The visual effects and the production design, those are fine nominations by me.
Yeah.
But those are 3 very weak nominations to say that this is one of the best pictures of the year.
100% agreed. But I think that I don't know how well James Cameron is liked in the industry.
Well, if anything, James Cameron should have gotten the nomination because this is a director movie.
Yeah.
This is a movie that you can see this man created on his own. He wanted to make this the way it came out. This, if anything, should have gotten Best Director and not Best Picture. But it was always going to get Best Picture.
Yeah. I don't think there was a doubt in it.
No.
But do you have any other thoughts about this movie before we wrap this episode up?
No, I think it's better than the first one, but I don't think it's going to be more memorable. Because the first one was just its own unique first thing.
Yeah,
and this just wasn't. This was kind of just more. It feels like it's more of a franchise. And
yeah. Well, I think we're at least sticking around. The Avatar universe is scheduled to be continuing until I think 2028. So buckle up. You've got how many years? 5 years left.
For now.
Yeah.
Maybe our grandkids will be also continuing after us. And
maybe
saying that in 13,400 there's still gonna be.
Maybe, but we won't be around to see that.
Hopefully not.
But we'll see you next time with another installation of our Oscar coverage.